And represent it. Okay. Hi everyone. Um, Welcome to our Gucci blackface case study. So Gucci, I'm going to talk about like the research that I found first before we go into the actual case study. High-end fashion was one of the most profitable industries on the planet. Gucci is one of the most recognizable luxury brands names. It's everywhere. They're sold in 206 countries internationally. And in 2019, Gucci was the fourth most valuable luxury brand worldwide, behind Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and Hermes. And raising from 174 billion euros from 2009, and then to 2019, it went up to 281 billion euros, and one third of the value is due to accessories such as watches, handbags, jewelry, belts, things like that. Not necessarily the clothes. It's known for like their leather goods. And in this year alone, the brand has valued over 25.1 billion US dollars. And just a little bit of history, Gucci was founded in Florence, Italy, in 1921, as a leather goods manufacturer before it actually became like a luxury brand. And the fashion designer businessman Guccio Gucci was the creator of Gucci. He just used his name, and it became a family business. Um, in 1953, the year he died. So there was a huge loss in the company, but it also was a huge win because they opened up their first shop overseas in New York City, and his sons took over the company. Gucci now has 107 different stores in different locations. Gucci also has the most retail stores of any luxury brand, with 520 stores worldwide. And in October 1995, Gucci officially went public for $22 a share. As of today, Gucci has a headquarters in Milan, Paris, London, Hong Kong, and New York City. And what exactly happened with this case study? So, the black sweater that covers half your face, which is shown to the right of the presentation, is modeled by a white model, and the lips are outlined, and it's like kind of exaggerated, the lips. And it was a part of the fall collection and winter collection of 2018. And the sweater sold at retail price for $890. Famous people such as LeBron James tweeted their concerns about the suggestive racist sweater being sold in Gucci stores internationally. He wasn't the only famous person to lash out about it, and we'll go on about who did what. And soon after, Gucci apologized for the insensitive design and removed the sweater off the shelves. But it actually was a couple months after they actually released it, and we'll teach you more about that later on. And for the SWOT analysis, they for the strengths, it's a very famous high-end brand, and that's a huge strength, especially that it's sold all over the world. And in 2021, they will celebrate their 100 years that they have been around. They have stores all over, and like I said before, 106 countries selling their products. For weaknesses, getting approval of their sweater to begin with, that's a weakness in itself to show like I guess you could say their moral compass or ethical choices behind the content creation created that got approval of the sweater, and who created the sweater, and thinking nothing of it and how wrong it actually looks. The more well known you are, the more negative attention you receive during a scandal. So, yes, it has its strength to be a famous high end brand, but it also has its weaknesses. And for the opportunities, they can continue to grow and open more stores because they're so reputable and they make so much money. They can obviously continue to grow. They can also change the blackface scandal negative attention to positive attention by reinforcing the change in their design process. They can ensure they basically can use this scandal as opportunity to show that they're going to innovate the way that they design and approve their their products, and it can prove that there's going to be an evolution within the company. And threats. Customers can stop like purchasing Gucci products altogether because of the incident, and they can just take their money elsewhere and buy other high-end brands. We could also um, develop a reputation. Well, they can develop a reputation for being a racist company. And who was involved and why they were involved? The shareholders. So obviously, like I said before, Gucci went public in 1995, and now they're shareholders because it's a public company, so they own parts of Gucci. So they're heavily involved in the scandal because it affects on how much money they make on their shares. The creative director, he's the one that created the sweater, and he has announced and made statements about how he felt people thought of the actual product. And the media obviously played a big role because they wrote a lot of articles and did a lot of media coverage. And then the famous people that reacted to it and felt very offended, as they should. When and where. So it's not really a very long timeline because Gucci kind of like it moved on, like they moved on from the scandal. But the sweater was released in the fall of 2018. February of 2019, they made a public apology. They received negative media attention the entire fall and winter of 2018 2019, and the sweater was sold in stores online all around the globe in retail stores. And so why is PR needed in this situation? Personally, I think PR is needed because, it needs to have some damage control on the issue. Race is a huge deal, especially if you're going to be looked at as a racial company. So PR needs to like show that Gucci is not racist. Um, Release the statements to the public and try to fix the errors that Gucci already made, and to discuss how Gucci is going to improve themselves for the future and how this mistake will never happen again.
Okay, so I'm gonna start by going over the timeline of like the most important PR related events. So the first moment that deserves to be noted in the timeline is when the sweater caught the public's attention on Twitter. So like Kayla mentioned before, the sweater had been on sale for almost a year before it became a scandal. So during Black History Month of 2019, Twitter users began explaining how deeply offensive the jumper truly was. Although it took a while for the sweater to become an issue for Gucci, they responded the same night it became a problem. On February 6, 2019, Gucci released an apologetic statement in which they also told the public that they had removed the item from their website and all their stores. Gucci wrote about how they were fully committed to increasing diversity throughout our organization and turning this incident into a powerful learning moment. So just when they thought that their work was done, the public began to criticize Gucci again by saying that their apology was not enough, and Twitter users also began using the hashtag boycott Gucci. And then in May, a few months after the scandal, the Gucci CEO spoke publicly about the scandal for the first time, in which he again reiterated that this was a mistake and he wanted to learn from it and move forward from it. And he didn't want to blame anyone for the issue except himself. Okay, so the objective in this case was Gucci wanted to apologize to the public, basically in order to save their reputation. They didn't want to be viewed as a racist company. Okay. So Gucci's original strategy can be compared to the situational crisis communication theory, which offers crisis response strategies depending on the crisis. And it's basically used in order to protect an organization's reputation. So Gucci's apology statement regarding the sweater was their form of not only apologizing for releasing like a racist and offensive sweater, but it was also an attempt to save their reputation so that they would not be deemed as a racist clothing brand. So once they realized that this wasn't working and people kept using like the boycott Gucci hashtag and saying that their apology was not enough because this was such a deep issue, it was obvious that Gucci had to change their strategy. So after evaluating and realizing that an apology was not enough to win the public over, they began to use the situational theory of publics, which is a multiple step process that helps solve the problem. This process includes awareness, research and understanding the problem, and evaluating your own ability as a company to get involved. Okay, so the first step is awareness, which is when Gucci realized the severity of this problem and that it wouldn't easily be solved with an apology. So, like I said before, people were not happy with the fact that all they wanted to do was say, I'm sorry, and remove the jumper from, I mean, the sweater from, like shelves and stores. Um, it was very clear that the public needed more than that. Okay. The second step is researching and understanding how the issue affects people's lives. So, the effect the issue had on people's lives can be analyzed by understanding how racism and offensive products can offend so many consumers. Another reason why researching and understanding the problem was so important in this case is because of the amount of awareness Black celebrities are bringing to this issue. So as we can see in this picture, rapper 50 Cent posted a video burning a Gucci shirt on Instagram that received millions of views, which definitely had a direct influence on consumers. And he said he was no longer going to shop with this brand or wear any of their products. So obviously, whoever follows him might also, follow suit and not want to purchase their products anymore either. Okay, and then the final step in this process is to evaluate the ability to do something about the problem and get involved. So this is when Gucci decided to take like a more appropriate approach for the problem, in my opinion. Gucci announced plans for scholarships with schools all over the world and in inner cities within the United States. They also encouraged like a volunteer program where employees could spend time with these inner cities, kind of like a mentorship program. Gucci also hired a global director for diversity and inclusion and formed an advisory council that included model Naomi Campbell, racial justice activists, academics, and celebrities. So this was clearly a direct attempt to not only save the reputation of the brand, but to ensure that this problem did not happen again. Getting racial justice activists on their side, as well as Black celebrities, helped give the company like credibility by getting them to make statements in which they say like they don't believe the book brand is racist, or they forgive the brand for making a mistake and that it was not that big of a deal, which Naomi Campbell actually has been quoted making these comments.
Hello, guys. My name is Rebecca, and I'm going to be talking about the critical analysis. So on the left, you're going to see Gucci's apology. So basically, they're basically apologizing for the offense. And so this apology was made February 2019. And they also removed the sweater because they face a lot of backlash and complaints from the customers. And in the same month, they also announced that they would hire a global and regional director for diversity and inclusion. So in late July, Renee was hired by Gucci, the CEO of Gucci Marco, to be the regional head of the diversity and equity and inclusion, a first-time appointment in the brand's 98 years of history. The position was created as part of the company's wide innovative in January 2019. So her job was basically to develop an executive plan to create more inclusive and equitable workplace and increase the workforce diversity as it relates to Gucci's brand. Okay, so let's go on to the Gucci announces Changemaker program to improve diversity and inclusion. So Gucci announced a new global program and scholarship fund called Gucci Change Makers that will promote diversity and inclusion throughout the company with a multi-step action plan. So the program includes 3 separate tiers: the Gucci Change Makers Fund, a scholarship program, and also a company-wide volunteering and initiative. All 3 of the programs are meant to foster racial diversity in both the company and the fashion industry as a whole. So right here, Gucci announces Gucci announces announcing Gucci's Changemaker plan. So the program includes a multi-year 5 million changers changemakers fund and a 1.5 million scholarship program in North America alongside a global employee volunteering framework that will fuel the company's commitment to creating a lasting social impact in the communities within the fashion industry. So here some people this is what some people had to say about Gucci's apologies on Twitter. So someone said, apology not accepted. You cannot honestly accept anyone to believe you were that stupid to not know something was wrong with having a sweater like this in the first place. Another goes, it doesn't matter when they apologize. After what they do, the damage is already done, and that's all they count on it. And another one is, it's easier to apologize after the fact than lose out the free advertising and the controversial racist generates, right? There's no possible way it was an accident. Nobody's buying that. And if they say they do, they're lying. They're lying racist too. So with the scholarship plan, there was some negative feedback and also there was some positive. So this is some negative things people had to say about the scholarship program. Somebody was just like, and this was on Instagram where they posted, somebody was just like, nope, y'all are still canceled. These are just word. I need to see some results in action. Also, still not giving me the all right, let's shop at Gucci again vibes. And then on the right side, this is some positive things that people had to say about the scholarship. They said this is amazing. Fendi, Off-White, and Balenciaga and other major fashion brands should do this too. And somebody else said, outstanding move. Um, Somebody goes, example of being about it, real progress. Thanks for listening and being productive, proactive. So was these were the plans effective? The apology was not effective because a lot of people felt like Gucci should not be making these type of mistakes in 2019, and the scholarship program was semi-effective because it's giving back to a community so they could further their education. And some people still didn't find it effective because they feel like Gucci was basically just giving them something so they could forget about the situation and they weren't buying it. But hiring a diversity leader was effective because it gives them a voice to say what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, and when it comes to them like designing any type of clothes. So what would I have done differently, or us as PR practitioners? There's a lot of things that we would have done differently. First thing is, we wouldn't let this situation even happen. We would have shut the idea down immediately. With our generation, we are trying to make things better when it comes to racial actions because we know how badly it could affect a community or a community. Also, we know what's appropriate, and that sweater was unprofessional and not appropriate. And a diversity leader would be hired immediately, and we would not wait till like July to hire a diversity leader. So recommendations and recover. So before coming out, so this is my recommendations for Gucci's. Before coming out with their clothing, they should get the okay from everyone on their team. And also, Gucci in 2020, Gucci brand was valued at approximately 17,000.63 billion US dollars. In comparison, the brand's value was 10.19 billion US dollars in 2019. So let's look at an update. Did Gucci learn their lesson? So no, because within that same month, Gucci faced backlash for selling a polarizing $800 indie full turban that resembles the star at a religion article of clothing for skis who have been faced discrimination for wearing such turbans in real life. But then he said the reason for him selling the turban is that he was inspired from a taxi driver in New York. And also, if you scroll down, Gucci did have a fashion show. A model took the matter into their own hands while walking the Gucci runway in Milan on Sunday, blasting the luxury brand's vulgar use of straitjackets during a runway. And Aisha Tam Jones, a non-binary model and musician, rolled down Gucci's controversy belt runway for the fashion house in spring/summer 2020. And while she was modeling, she put her hand up in both hands, and it was written with a message reading, "Mental health is not fashion, a fashion across the palm." So if you guys don't know what the jacket is, it's a strong garment with a long sleeve which can be tied together to confine the arms of a violent prisoner or a mental patient.
All right, guys, thank you for listening to our presentation.
Thank you. We'll go over the questions during class.